Hey there, everybody. Thank you for joining me for another one-man review. Today I have Olivier Schrauwen. I believe that's how the name is pronounced. Apologies if it's not. His book, Parallel Lives from Fantagraphics. It's another one of the books that I picked up in the Fanabucks sale, where I pre-ordered everything from Fantagraphics that I want for the rest of the year, and then cashed out the gift certificates that I got on books like this that I've been looking forward to getting, and some other stuff that I just thought looked cool. This book has really nice production. Love Schrauwen's art. I had seen but not read his one about his grandfather, Arseny Schrauwen, I think is how it's pronounced, and really felt at the time that the art in there was kind of revolutionary. I think the style has been picked up on much more and been influential, so this looks less odd to me now than when I was originally exposed to his work, but I still really think he's a compelling artist. I really like the design choice on this book with this like kind of soft cover, kind of hard cover thing. It's a cool look. I'll probably try and swipe this for anything I do. I like it. It's an in between. The book itself is obviously Parallel Lives, so it's an interesting like sci-fi autobiography where Schrauwen is presenting in the first one just like, hey, I'm a 33-year-old man, sorry, living in Neukölln, Germany. And then as you go, there's like 6 stories that each kind of put this character into like a sci-fi alternate reality. This first one is presented more straightforward as a professional graphic novelist, blah, blah, blah. So this is just a story about not believing in alien abductions or being skeptical of them until they happen to him. So I don't know if this is fiction because the rest of it's obviously fictional, or if this is an actual memoir part. The memoir autobiography aspect of it gets more interesting in this because it has all of these parallel lives and science fictions. The one thing that I've always felt whenever I see Schrauwen's art that's a little weird is the way lettering is handled. It looks more like typeset. It kind of reminds me of Mad Magazine with like mostly rectangular caption boxes everywhere, or even characters dialogue. You know, it's not balloons, it's in rectangles, and then it's kind of like more of a typeset rather than a hand lettered thing. And especially has some weird typesetting where it almost looks like typed out and then cut out and pasted in there. So things get almost like too close to the borders, and there's hyphens sometimes. I don't know if that's just this was done in German first, and then like that's how the translation fits in, but something about that has always bothered me. But it does add like a weird sterility to his stories, which I think is appropriate from everything that I've read. The other book that I've read is the collaboration with the Portrait of a Drunk, the collaboration with Rupert et Malott. I really like that one. That was more fun. This is more Schrauwen all the way through. So it's a little design thing that is odd to me about his work, but it also gives it its own particular flavor. So this first one's about alien abductions. The second one is just kind of like a futuristic story. It's pretty funny because like the characters have this old piece of tech, and this old piece of tech has a Schrauwen, another Schrauwen, talking to them saying, hey, I'm a scientist from the past and I've invented a time machine and I'm talking to you through this. But you get a sense throughout the story that maybe they just happened to find a old like videotape where the character as a joke has like pre-recorded these things, because sometimes he'll say stuff and it's like the way they interact with it, it doesn't really justify what's being said. And then other times like here, it's like it just coincidentally lines up that he says hello right when she says hello, and then leads to these funny situations. So I was unsure throughout that one if it's actually the scientists communicating. I chose to resolve it as like it was just this videotape as a joke, and the joke actually paid off. But that gets upended a little bit at the end of the book. You'll see that Schrauwen kind of switches. It has a standard art style, but switches looks and approaches, layouts and stuff change, color palettes change throughout the book. I really like that. This third one is characters get what's called a Cartoonify app. So they download an app into their brain, and it makes their whole life feel more cartoony. The experience of life is cartoony. So it's like mapping things onto their vision, like right here, you know, they're able to grab a tear and flick it away. So I thought that was fun. It's a funny idea. It's always something I've worried about if we start getting like heads-up display retinal implants, like people starting to map cartoonifies or like this up completely upset sense of reality. So I really like that. That's a lot of these. They're just fun, fun like future thoughts. This one we're following a character Oli instead of Olivier or Olivier, through as she's getting ready to do a musical performance. Here, I really like the art here. This is the type of design stuff that I think makes Schrauwen really stand out to me when it goes like this. And in that sense, like this type of lettering starts to make a little more sense. This character also is able to hear like the narrator, so everything in the captions she's able to hear. And she's trying to like practice her scat to try and ignore the narrator. So that one's kind of funny. But again, really cool art. Here we switch to just like one story compressed into 2 pages. This one's a little more wild. It just seems to be made up panel to panel, but characters interacting with this other character, Mr. Yellow, who seems to be delivering them some message. I really like the colors on this one. The story didn't stick with me too much. This one I think was the most interesting to me. Also, really enjoy the art on this one. But it's about a character in a hive mind society, in a future like totally hive mind society, where all of the genders have kind of been neutralized out. Everyone's hormones is keeping them on the same plane. They have like these big technological orgies, and this one character, the Oliver character, Olivier character, has kind of like something's gone wrong with the technology and his hormones are starting to kick in. He's starting to get more testosterone. He's realizing his individuality separate from the collective. So it's a topic that I'm interested in a lot, individuality versus collective, and how we kind of need to find the perfect balance between those two things. But you kind of got to be one or the other. It's impossible to be both. And this character finding his individuality again, and again here playing with the narrator. So he's saying, don't let my companion confuse you. I, Olivier Schrauwen, am the only narrator here. I'm the hero. As a former contemporary, I feel inclined to address you, citizen of the 21st century, as my audience, and supposedly is communicating to us through this little. I don't see it. There's this device that's following them around that's supposedly translating this back into a comic for us, because that's like a medium of communication. So I like that. I like the interactions between the characters. This character also starts to have her estrogen come up and moves away from that like bland hive mind sexless thing that they were, and they go on an adventure together, and you get all kinds of really cool art in there. And then there's a totally wild story at the end. Well, actually, I think this is the same one. Yeah, this is the same one. As they get more individuality, they stumble into another alien society, and you get some like just totally cool, over the top. It's almost like Winsor McKay, but even more psychedelic type of artwork. So really enjoy that. And then at the end, like I said, you kind of get this thing where this character who has now become fully male is isolated on an island alone and finds an old device and is again the woman finds the device and then seems to be communicating with that same Armand Schrauwen, who was Olivier's father or grandfather, and is communicating through his like future tech device again. And in this case, it seems like maybe he actually is a scientist who actually pulled it off, but I'm still not sure. It may just all be like a coincidence where he's, as a joke, pre-recorded this in case people find it. But you also do get in this box where she finds this device, you see the cover to this whole book in here. So there's this weird kind of hermetic nature to the project where all of these stories, including the book itself, interact with each other in really weird ways. So I like this like attack on autobiography and moving it into a fictional space, a science fiction space. It's really fun and inventive all the way through. And then, of course, the art is amazing. Really kind of fresh, fantastic feel to it. Once you've got that, if you haven't already, make sure to go get yourself a copy of Strange Death of Alex Raymond. If you want another book that will totally upset your sense of reality, you can fall down many, many rabbit holes that both myself and Dave Sim went down in researching this project, and hopefully, like I did, be able to get yourself back out of them. And then keep an eye out for the other books coming out from Living the Line: Yokoyama Yuichi's Plaza, Eric Creek's The Exile, and Mil Van de Peet's Centralia. Thanks for following along. Take it away, Jack.
You want to see all these books? Smash that subscribe button and the like button and the bell, and then you get them.